All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday, happy weekend to everyone. It's August 5th, and we have another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. So this particular report is going to be a little bit abbreviated for you guys. We actually have 15 coins to talk about. Not that there was any lack of market activity or anything of that nature, because there wasn't, as a matter of fact. We have about 12 hours of activity here, which is a lot less than what I normally cover. I usually look at the previous 24 to 48 hours. And this is with intent. Because I also have an announcement for the Pittsburgh ANA, the Whatnot NGC Collaborative Grade Off Challenge that we're going to talk about here momentarily. All right, so before we do that, of course, we got to talk about a lot of the base things with the Pocket Change Market Report. If you could find it out in the wild, then you could resell it. All right, and we typically look at errors and varieties here, which for the longest time has been a very niche area of collectability. And oftentimes you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more success selling these on platforms like eBay. Okay, and that's kind of like the main focal driver these videos, to allow you guys to realize that there is a market for these coins that oftentimes maybe coin shops and dealers don't really specialize in or understand. Okay, it could be two sides of the coin there, no pun intended, by the way. But folks, they'll typically run through, like coin rolls, maybe if they're hunting for silver, they'll come across things like this, going through large mass amounts of change, whether it's in a, like a water cooler jug or something to that effect, is another way of doing that. But also, let us not forget that you could find a lot of these coins as well, cherry picking your local coin shops or the shows too, which is a pretty big practice. I know a number of people that do it for a living, and they go out and add some pretty epic coins to their collection in addition to reselling online, and that's how they make money. That's how they kind of support families and as a side hustle. So we don't talk about graded coins typically in this one. Again, the idea is that you don't want to spend any extra money to resell the coins. Grading costs a lot of money sometimes, depending on what you have. Error attribution can be pretty pricey. And all the photos you're going to see here today are original to the seller's listings. So we didn't juice or doctor anything to make the coins look a lot better than they actually are. What we did do was crop the images down so we could fit more onto these slides. So that's kind of like the base information of the Pcmr. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is the Grade Off Challenge, which will occur August 10th. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be at the Pittsburgh ANA Money Show. And this is going to be a huge epic event. Not only will it be streamed on Whatnot, not only on Whatnot, but also on NGC's Whatnot account as well. But it'll be live streamed on YouTube by yours truly, Blue Ridge. But this is going to be really cool, all right? So this is an event sponsored by both Whatnot and NGC, one of the big grading companies out there, and it's going to pit four of the well-known influencers in the numismatics game today. It's going to be Couch Collectibles and Coin Hub going up against myself, Blue Ridge, and Bargain Hunters Thrift. As you guys know, his name's also... I don't know why it's leaving my mind, but he's also a star on jeez. Oh man, this is not funny. Bargain Hunters Thrift has his own social media, but he is also on Storage Wars as well. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I haven't met him yet. We were supposed to have a kind of like an onboarding thing, and he wasn't feeling too well. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun, to be sure. And sorry to my partner. I mean, we're going to knock it out, obviously, but as you can see, all four of us are going to be getting together to to make it happen. And we're going to be grading a number of coins, is what it is. And there's going to be representatives from NGC that'll be there to help kind of police and kind of audit everything. So we have a number of coins that we're going to be grading over the course of, I believe, like 30 minutes or an hour or somewhere around there. And it's going to be a very special event. I'm going to bookmark also at the bottom in the description box NGC's channel on Whatnot, because what they're going to do is NGC has exclusive coins dedicated to each team. So you're going to have graded NGC sample slabs that'll have Team Coin Hub on there, Team Couch Collectibles, Team BlueRidgeSilverhound, and Team Bargain Hunters Thrift. And you can always go on NGC's Whatnot stream and purchase those coins. All of the proceeds will go to charity, which is a really cool thing about this. You know, the winning team will receive $500 that we could use on future Whatnot streams for giveaways and other promotions for the buyers on there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 3:30 Pacific Eastern Standard Time on August 10th, which is going to be Thursday. And I can't wait to do this this challenge, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a blockbuster for sure. Stay tuned. I mean, if you're in the area, of course, come on down and take part in this event, and come support your favorite content creator, because we have all the heavy hitters that'll be in attendance during this time. So, yeah, I mean, you know, really cool event. I'm glad to be a part of it, and you know, the Great Off Challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see if I really know my stuff, right? Because if I crash and burn here, you guys might think a little bit differently about me. Let's not hope so, right? All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the coins. We have, again, a very short list of coins here today, starting out with this 1999 Lincoln Memorial Cent. So, yeah, these are indeed copper-coated zinc coins. So they're not going to look the best from, you know, standpoint if there's any split plating or anything as a result of an off-center strike, a broad strike, or something like this. They call this an indent. The seller had mentioned that there was a brockage, but I don't see it. It's a late enough stage in this case that you don't see it on there. But how an indent occurs is you have two, either two planchets overlapping each other, offset, or you're going to have a struck coin and a blank overlapping each other. So, in a sense, it's a two-coin affair, which happens here. Usually these coins are going to be broad struck, especially the main struck one, because the collar is simply not present during this process. So you're going to get some of that in there as well. But yeah, this is kind of like that byproduct when you have two coins overlapping that are struck together. So there is another piece somewhere out in the world today. Don't know if it got caught during the quality control process, or maybe if it was thrown into a mint bag during that time. So this one, a little bit sketchy from the sales part of it, okay? This one was sold by a seller with zero feedback, and it was a buy it now listing, sold for $500.25. I could tell you this with 100% certainty. These coins don't typically sell no more than about 25 to 50 bucks, okay? And considering that we're looking at a copper-coated zinc coin here, that even drives the value down a little bit more, because it's simply not a desirable composition to have this sort of event, mid-error event occur. So, yeah, you know, there could be some you know, market manipulation type stuff happening here. Just want to let you guys know that this is not a $500 coin, even if it does show a partial brockage. So the next, I mean, you know, we don't have much in the way of lots today. We don't talk enough about blank planchets. Not that it needs any sort of special introduction, but you know, there's the raw Type 1 planchets that don't have the upset rim on there, and then there are these ones which do. So these are the Type 2 planchets, These have gone through the upsetting mill and have that little natural curved edge. And they're ready for, for strikes of your favorite Lincoln scent. Quite a few of these have various stains and carbon spotting on there. They're not the most attractive looking blanks that you could find, and that's probably why the seller elected to just sell them as a group. There are in total 20 pieces here. Now, here's a little bit of the rub. At first glance, the $19.99 sale seems to be a bargain, and it could be. Let's talk a little bit about how much these realistically sell for on the secondary market. And then you're going to have to, again, if you're looking to buy up lots, the same things always apply. You always check and see how much these things sell for individually. And you're going to find that, they sell for between $1 and $5. I would say your cleanest blank planchets this group will be in that kind of $3 to $5 range, but the ones that have a bunch of stains and stuff, you're not going to make much money, if anything. And at that point, is it really worth listing? So, this one possibly could be a little bit of fool's gold. The $20 sale may not all be that great at the end of the day. But again, if you did your research, you'll understand where these things settle at. All right, so we have our first piece of currency. We have a 2009 $1 bill right here. Just at first glance from the front of the note, I mean, it's a really nice looking note here, exhibiting very little circulation wear, if any. But it really doesn't show a whole lot here. Now, when we flip the note to the back, you're going to see a very attractive partial front to back wet ink transfer. So the impression cylinder that normally just holds the subject sheet onto and will actually make the movement as it presses up against the plates, will have a little bit of residual ink. Kind of similar, and I like to use this analogy. This is kind of like a die clash for paper money. All right, so that's how this happens. And with wet ink transfers, the secondary impression of design on there is going to be mirrored. All right, so everything will be backwards. If you look at Federal Reserve just here at the top, it's backwards, and that's what you want to see. There have been attempts of this to be duplicated in some way, and they just do not look good. All right, and they forget to mirror the design details. So this one is 100% legit. You don't have to worry about this one. It ended up selling for $180.25, which is a very nice sale price here. Probably a lot higher compared to some of the other ones I've seen. We've seen full 100% wet ink transfers sell for that same amount of money. So there must just be something about this, maybe series date or, the cleanliness of the note that really attracted the buyer on this one. Next one that we have here, this is a very well-known variety, but it's still worth mentioning. 1963 Denver Lincoln Memorial Set. This one right here is the FS101 Doubled Die Obverse. It's a cherry picker's guide variety as well. When we look up close here at the date, you're going to see the secondary kind of like number 3 on that bottom curve right there. So you have a doubled inner point that is, and on some of the earlier states of this one, you can even see an extra bottom curl of the 3 as well underneath the 3. This one doesn't show it, but this is indeed the FS101 right there. This one sold for $18.62. They're quite common. I found a number of these roll hunting over the years. As a matter of fact, I probably have pretty close to a full roll of these in varying degrees of grade. And they can be worth at the low end like $5 a piece, which is not too bad. That's 500x face value. So keep that into perspective as you're looking for these. All right, so this one is a Blockbuster Error. This is a 1985 $20 bill. It's an older style small head design. All right, I actually miss these. But you can see that the overprint is completely missing on the front of the note. And the note seems to be a really nice shape. It has a nice, like, kind of natural curl to it. That doesn't really do anything for the grade or anything like that. Notes after a while through age will curl a little bit like this, but nothing to concern yourself. But you can see a very faint overprint that was applied to the back of the note. So yeah, the sheet was backwards, but also at the same time, you have a little bit of insufficient inking as well, indicating that the ink wells all throughout were pretty dry at this point. So very attractive note, very wild to see one of these ungraded. This one sold for $235.83 with 5 bids. So this one is probably predestined for a PMG or PCGS banknote holder in the near future, and it now instantly double up the value of this thing. Well, what a pleasant looking coin, and in such nice shape, problem-free 1889 Indian head set with a pretty good sized strike through on the reverse. This is nice. I mean, if you could come across something like this, and they're probably already attributed as an error if you found this like in at a dealer or something like that. Obviously, you know, it's hard to miss. You know, they will find things like this and try and monetize off of it, which is fine, you know. But nonetheless, a really nice high-grade example. I'd say it's probably a good solid AU brown, like a 58 maybe. It's got 4 diamonds on the ribbon, which is always key. This one sold for $52, and I think that's just fine for this one. Again, it remains to be seen if, you know, kind of like lower-end mint errors like this would actually enhance the value of early classics. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You know, it really depends on that collector. Quick little update. Of course, we're going to be having updates on this coin until the end of the year. I mean, let's be honest. Because, you know, the market will be a little bit different. You know, the landscape will change here in about 3 months as we head into the holidays, where the market should be a lot more robust than it is right now. So, you know, that might even affect coins like this. The 2023 Lincoln Shield cent with the extra V anomaly right next to the VDB initials at the base of Lincoln's bust. The coin is in actually phenomenal shape, right? I think I've made my point perfectly clear in a few of the previous Pocket Change Market Report videos that now is the time to be a little bit more picky if you're accepting to pay a little bit more money for a coin in lieu of sending it out to either NGC or PCGS to get that extra V designation on there. These things has been selling graded for hundreds of dollars. So it was not a shock to see this one sell as a buy it now for $200, which is a lot higher than what we've normally seen here in the last month and a half for these coins. In case you need a refresher, that's what that little extra V anomaly looks like. Again, it's been reported by a number of error attributors that this could be anything. It could be a rejection mark. It could be something added to the working hub. You know, there's a few different things here at play, a few theories. But nonetheless, you know, grading companies have embraced this particular variety. You know, V for variety. I think it fits. And again, the secondary market on graded examples have been quite robust. So, yeah, make sure you're aware of that. And, you know, if you're looking to monetize off of these, cherry pick some of the nicer pieces online. And, you know, I'm not going to say at whatever cost, but $200 is a high price. But if it comes back at $67, it's gonna be a $600 coin all day long. It will sell for that. So this one, my goodness, I wish I would have seen this one. I would have grabbed it in a heartbeat. But this seller had put this Mercury dime, 2016 Mercury dime, gold error. And that's it. That's all it showed on the actual listing title, with a $220 starting bid. And only one person bid on it. So what did they nab here? Well, they nabbed one of the re-released 2016 golds. So the U.S. Mint had released these beautiful gold, kind of like a tribute to some of the more popular coin designs. Okay, one of them was the Mercury dime that you see here. They did the Standing Liberty quarter and the Walking Liberty half dollar, and they are all stunning. I own one of these myself, and yeah, this is the real deal. It even has the engraving here on the reverse under E Pluribus Unum, showing AU 24 karat and 1/10 ounce actual gold weight on there. So yeah, I mean, these things typically sell raw for about $350 to $380. This one sold for the one singular bid. By the time all was said and done with shipping, it sold for $225.25. One singular bid. Someone came in and scooped it up really, really quickly on there. It wasn't a buy it now. They put it on as a regular auction. And some people probably were tripped up like, oh, it's a gold-plated mercury dime. Who cares, right? But if you guys know your U.S. Mint recent history, this was an actual release. So well done to the buyer. Couldn't be happier to see this one sell for cheap because it could represent a nice little flip. $1 silver certificate, 1935D here on this one. Again, really nice looking note, a little bit off center, or miscut in this case, but that's not the big part of why this note's on the list. Take a look at the reverse, guys. We have a misaligned reverse print, okay, and the back print of these notes are generally applied first to the sheet. All right, so, you know, I'm going to say that maybe the sheet was slightly off or shifted prior to when the back print was applied, because everything on the front looks good. It's within tolerances, even though it looks a little bit miscut on the front. But yeah, this is a really wild error. I'm sure it was discovered very early on because this note is a very nice high-grade example as well. This one sold for $149.31 with 9 bids. And this is a really neat one here. Again, mint errors on wartime silver nickels are just as special as 1943 Lincoln cent errors and bicentennial coinage errors. So keep an eye out for these, and especially on these ones. Anything that's a broad strike, off center, or double struck, you know, some of these crazier type of anomalies are always going to be highly desired. This is a 1944P. You can see that large giant mint mark on the reverse above the dome in Monticello. And the coin's in pretty decent shape. You know, probably a good solid, you know, XF 45, AU 50 kind of range there. You know, you still have a fair amount of steps there on Monticello. But anyways, this one sold for $209.50. A really wild sale here on this one, and again, gotta be on the lookout for these. Even crazy like lamination errors are always really nice on these, you know, in spite of the fact that they're kind of like a low end error on them. Not an error, but this one was sold as a specific variety type on this 1835 Kappa's half dime. And the men had made a few of these with different size dates. So they have a large date, large 5, a large date, small 5, a small date, large 5, and a small date, small 5. So this one is the latter, the small date, small 5 variety. And they're all equally common, I would say, because there's not one that is worth more than the other. But just want to let you guys know that these exist on this particular date. If you come across them and you see them in like varying types of size of dates, they're all equally common. And the coin is nothing too crazy. I would say it's probably a net good. I would say VG if it didn't have all the little pock marks and scratches on there. But this one right here sold for $38.15 with 13 bids. Again, just a fair kind of like type coin if you're on a budget. Here's our other 2023, and this is probably along the lines of a sale price that we're used to today. This one sold for $56.25 with 7 bids. However, on this one, you could see a number of little nicks all throughout. You could see there's one right here behind his head. a few of them here in the jacket area of Lincoln. Again, they're all going to affect grade. And then, of course, you have the unsightly kind of like black circular rinse stains on there, which plague these quite a bit. So you got to find one that's a lot cleaner than that in order to grade it. I mean, this one probably won't grade no higher than maybe a 64, 65 on its best day. And you don't want that. You want to hit at least 66 if you're going to invest in these to grade. So $56 there on that one. Another nice early type coin with actually a very common error. 1808 Dre Bust, half cent, with what the seller calls a 340-degree rotated reverse. And in this particular case, this coin is a little bit corroded. You can tell, especially on the reverse there, and it's quite common for these to show environmental type of details and damage on there. But just to let you guys know, rotated dies on these earlier coins are kind of common. All right, even one like this, which has, I would say probably more along the lines of a medallic alignment as opposed to a 340-degree clockwise rotation. You know, again, it's not going to affect the value too much. This one did sell for a little bit better because of its grade state. Sold for $71.34 with 26 bids. But probably not worth no more than that. All right, guys, check out your silver. You just never know what you're going to find. Here's a very common 1921 Morgan dollar. I mean, the coin is in pretty good shape. It looks to be mid-state with some fair amount of toning all throughout, a lot of russet brown. Again, nothing too crazy. I would say the toning is just marginal, if inoffensive to a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, you know, these, you could find, you know, strike throughs and things like that. Like this one has a pretty sizable strike through right above the eagle's head. There, it's a really, really pleasing look to it. And, you know, with that being said, this one sold for $98.45. So pretty much, the cherry picker of this coin probably invested 30-40 bucks on the coin and easily 2x their money. And the final coin for the week is going to be the 2015 Homestead Quarter that you see here. This thing is phenomenal, and people are paying a little bit more attention to these here lately. If you could find a decent example with the snow on the roof, all right, which is simply just die chips, die breaks. Okay, the bigger the die chip, it kind of converts into a die break anyways, but this one right here, you can see all sorts of die chipping, not only on this side, which is quite obvious, but also on the left side. A few little smaller areas, and then of course there's a little spot of snow right above the window here, which is another die chip. These things are very attractive, and they have their own collectible base of folks out there, and they really do like collecting these by progression type and size. This one sold for $21.11, all right, which is not horrible at all, and it outsells a lot of other, you know, recognized double dies for the date. So yeah, there you go. Oh, by the way, yeah, that's Renee with Bargain Hunters Thrift, okay, who is also a star on the show with buying storage lockers. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, all of a sudden my brain is farting like disbelief. It must be all the beans I've been eating. It's gone to my head. Storage Wars. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, come check us out if you're going to be in the area. For those of you that are on the East Coast, yeah, your boy Blue is going to be in the area. I'm finally going to be living up to my my billing of BlueRidgeSilverhound, which I'm still miles away from the Blue Ridge Mountains. So there you go. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see some of you there. And again, I'm going to probably, you know, drop another short video later on today to remind you about the event. And yeah, thank you guys for all your views and support. That's going to go ahead and wrap things up on this shorter edition of the Pcmr. So I wish you guys a wonderful weekend, whatever you may be doing. And I will see you guys on the next coin video. So long.